gentlemen, please put your hands together and welcome the one, the only Dave Thornton.
If you're an attention seeker, you do what I do.
You're just seeking validation and attention.
Yeah, but sometimes that doesn't happen. I spent 4 months writing and rewriting and going through all the nerves. And then I got up on stage and I stood there for 5 seconds just trying to remember the words. But that 5 seconds felt cavernous. I had a really bad memory for remembering lines. There's times when you think, oh, well, Dylan, there's easier ways to make a living. Zoom gigs. Zoom was the worst. I just talk for 20 minutes. To who? I still don't know.
Do you have a lot of money in comedy?
People who see gnarly things, they usually got a dark sense of humor.
Like no one's laughing or you don't get the reception you want. How do you mentally recover from that?
Just gonna.
Dave, look, tell us about your comedian journey. Where'd you start? Like, were you like an accountant before? Because I feel like a lot of comedians start off being an accountant. Like, what's the deal there? What were you?
I wasn't an accountant.
All right.
I wasn't even close to being an accountant. Because you guys have had what? Dilruk Joe singer on,
Limo,
Tahir.
Yeah.
Was Tahir an accountant as well?
He wasn't, but I think Limo was. Limo and Dilruk.
Yeah.
Dilruk, yeah.
Surprisingly,
finance related.
It's always money related.
Surprisingly, both of them are fairly bad with money, so that's ironic. I'm not talking out of school. Guys, I was a graphic designer,
No.
so I wasn't even close to being an accountant.
Right.
Yeah, and I got a bit of color blindness, so what a hero's journey.
Color blindness, graphic designing, amazing choice.
I know. And then it was,
It's a no-brainer, man.
Yeah. I'm just pointing to the same color on the Pantone color swatch. Do you want to go with that one again? Whatever color it is.
So in terms of colorblind, like, is there specific colors that you're a thing, or like, how does that work?
Yeah, mine is, I think, green and purple. If you put them together, it causes this weird, well, for me, this strange bleeding kind of strobing effect that my eye struggles with. But it's so rare that I ever come into those combinations.
Okay.
Right.
So it's never really been an issue for me. But they said, you can never be a pilot. And I'm like, yeah, that's not happening.
So straight off the check's like, oh, God damn it, man.
Yeah. All right, fair enough. That's off the list. And you said surgeon, was it? Yeah, okay. I won't give that a shot either.
Yeah.
Like, it was never going to happen.
Yeah.
Comedian list.
Yeah. Can I be a traveling idiot who goes on stage and makes people laugh? Yeah, have at it.
So graphic designer, and then like you got bored of it, and then like, right, I'm gonna start cracking jokes. What happened there?
I really like being a graphic designer. I actually quite enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I always said if this didn't work out, I'd absolutely go back to it. But I don't know. You don't finish a shift in graphic design and get a round of applause. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's true.
Yeah. If you're an attention seeker, you do what I do.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. I just wanted to give it a shot. And my dad used to be in bands and things like that.
Right.
So I think that's where that all came from. And you know, comedy's like a musician, but you got no actual talent. Like, you don't have to learn an instrument. You know what I mean?
It's literally, you're just seeking validation and attention. So like, you know what? I'll make you laugh. You just give me some attention.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
And then sometimes that doesn't happen. So you're asking for attention and it doesn't come your way.
Because he went on a comedy. He wants to be a comedian too.
I started.
Remember the Robert
For real.
Chicken or
Yeah, I was
something
at Robert Chicken, did the Exford Hotel as well.
Yeah, how'd it go?
Wow. Okay, so the Exford Hotel, that was my first gig. And so you probably heard of the
Talking
Nelson
like
Twins,
a proper
right?
comedian. That was my first gig.
So you probably heard of the Twins, right? The Nelson
Yes,
Twins.
I know those guys.
So we're pretty much res.
They're the ones that hooked him on, man. Anyways, keep
Oh
going.
wow, okay. So we're kind of under their wing, and they took us to the Exford.
Great dudes, those guys.
Great, amazing, really lovely fellas. And the one thing they kept telling me is like, just have a 5-minute set. And in my head, I'm like, you know what? I've got a 2-minute set. I think I can, I'll figure it out the rest.
Yeah.
And I get on stage and I've forgotten the whole set. I've forgotten the whole set, so I started improvising. The improvisation worked. I was like roasting the crowd. That worked, but then I left the crowd. I'm like, you know what? Like, I forgot the rest of the set. I'm done. Second gig, I went in with the same set. Not a single laugh. Not a single laugh. And it was like,
You didn't tell me
it was
that.
just like 5 minutes. No. Yo.
Yeah, it's like a gambler. They leave the losses out, don't they? Like,
Yeah, because you know what it was? They were going through some raffles. That was the rubber chicken, right? They were going through raffles.
Yeah.
So they call it your name, and my name was the last one. And by that time, everyone's like pissed drunk and like they're over it.
Yeah.
Everyone's waiting on the Twins to jump on, and like, you know what, Mahoo, jump on. And I come and start cracking some jokes, and they're looking at me like, bro, just get off stage, man. and it was bad. It was bad.
man.
I straight away walked outside. I'm like, yeah, I started like, yeah, not doing this ever again, man.
Yeah, it can shake you about when there's a bad one.
It was
You're
bad.
like, what just happened?
Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it was an experience, and I think the twins kept saying, "Look, this is part of it. Rubber chicken stuff."
And it's just, you don't know what's going to happen. Like I did a corporate gig last night and that wasn't my finest hour.
Oh no.
Like,
Yeah.
What happened?
Oh, I mean, in those situations, it's almost the opposite of a normal club, because a normal comedy club, people pay tickets, they want to come see you perform, or they want to see someone perform. So it's almost like mentally and emotionally they've given over to say, yeah, I'll pay $20, $30, whatever it is. I want to see some comedy. Let's go. When you're in a corporate setting, usually you've been inflicted onto them.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
the
Yeah.
boss or the organizer
They
goes,
didn't pick you, just like, here you go.
Yeah.
nah, that's it.
Yeah.
And so I was in this room and it was standing room, which is notoriously bad. So people aren't sitting and saying, I'm facing you, I'm giving you attention. They're
Yeah.
just milling around going, I could listen to him or I could eat the hors d'oeuvres and try and schmooze up to my boss in the back.
Yeah.
So the guy hosting it does a bit of rah-rah and then says, here's the stand-up comedian. And I walk in and, you know, half I'm like, who's this guy? And then you start doing your gags and they start chatting at the back. And
Yeah.
then you're like a school teacher. Guys, just a bit of quiet. Thanks very much. And
yeah.
trying to do all that.
Yeah.
It was 20 minutes and I went, thanks very much. And scuttled off into my hotel room.
Yeah. Well, did you at least get some laughs, or did you drop him a hoot and get nothing?
No. Is that what it's called now?
Yeah, you're dropping him a hood right now. Yeah.
I'm a hooted the hell out of it. Like,
I think that's an actual thing. Drop him a hood.
oh, man.
Yeah.
What a mahood that was. No good.
Rez is like dying in the back.
That's gonna stick.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's gonna stick in the office.
Anytime a joke doesn't land, hey man, you just pull him a hood.
That's why you hit it from me.
I knew I would have got it from him. That's why.
That's
So how do
brutal.
you bounce back from that? Like, no one's laughing, or you don't get the reception you want. How do you mentally, I guess, recover from that?
Just go on a podcast the next day, talk about it. Just try to get
And
through
just be
it.
like, man, I just pulled him a hood.
Yeah, I know. It could have mahooted my career. This could have been trouble. No, in all honesty, in that situation, because emotionally you walk off thinking, what just happened?
Yeah.
Like I was sweating. My T-shirt under my shirt was soaked.
Oh, no
Yeah.
way.
You know, you're walking away and in those corporate environments, which a lot of comedians know, you're nice to the person who booked you because they were very nice. They gave you the gig.
Yeah.
You try and, you know, just be nice to the people who were there. And then you leave the room and go, oh, what happened? And I went back to my hotel room. But then you objectively, and I've been doing it now for 20 odd years. So you try to analyze it more objectively and say, okay, well, I was up against it because half of them didn't care. The people who were listening, I got some laughs, but the other people, they couldn't care less.
Yeah.
And so you think, well, there's not a lot I can do in that situation.
Yeah.
They're going to pay attention or they're not.
Yeah.
And then, they're the kind of conversations you're having internally.
Yeah.
So that you just think, screw this. I'm out
Good.
here.
Yeah.
Can you like, you know, when you're not getting reception you want, because you're contracted like for like 20 minutes or 30 minutes, right?
It's usually in those corporate
And you gotta like
environments,
stick to that time, so you can't even bail early. So you're just there copying the mahoodness of it until
on,
your
man.
time is up.
Listen, that's the thing. I'd leave early.
Yeah, but you
so
can't.
the twins kept telling me like, look, just do the 5-minute set. But I'm like, I can't do it, man. Like, I'm pulling a mahood. I need to leave. So I just kept leaving after 2-3 minutes.
I mean, for us in those environments, because I bought an iWatch simply for this because it'll buzz on your wrist, so I won't make
Gotcha.
any noises. But once the alarm goes off,
That's why I'm the Dilruk when he done our corporate gig.
yeah,
It was buzzing. I'm like, what's that buzz?
yeah, that's
Yeah,
exactly
okay, makes
it.
sense.
And I'm just waiting for this buzz to hit so I can go, okay, see you later, guys.
Must be the slowest time ever.
I mean, when it's not working, yeah, because usually we do hour shows at festivals. And when you do comedy festivals or you do your own show, it usually runs for 60 minutes or so. And those 60 minutes, if it's going well, it can feel like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But if it's not going well,
Yeah.
like I remember performing at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. And so that's the biggest arts festival in the world. And it's on the other side of the world. And this was 2009 or 10 or something like that. And when you're in those environments, you literally are a foreigner.
Yeah.
But even your comedy can be a bit foreign to people because, you know, you're from the other side of the world. You're like, are they going to get what I'm saying? And so people are also turning up. And there's people from all over the world that turn up to Edinburgh. Like you've got Americans and Europeans and all this. They all just turn up and go, I don't know, we'll just give this guy a shot. And you could not be for them. And I remember one time, so it's an hour show. And in this 20 minutes, into this hour show, I'm not going well. Like, there's about 100 people in the crowd, and I reckon 3 people are laughing.
Jesus.
And it's just deathly silence. And there's no way, I can't bail. I've got to do an hour. This is my show.
That's crazy.
And I remember this bit just cut through me because it was really cutting, but really nice. When I drop a gag, and comedians always, you kind of know when there's a good gag coming. You feel like, oh, this is one that might win them over. You know? I'll drop this
Land it
line.
nicely.
Yeah, we'll see how we go. So I drop this gag. The 3 people are on side. They laugh. But then out of the darkness, because I can't really see the audience, I just hear someone lean across to those laughers and just go, shh. Like, why are you encouraging this guy? And I just start laughing because I'm like, I can't believe you just are like, whoa, no.
Yeah.
We're going to sit here in silence until we break his spirits. Like, that's the job. And so I left after that hour. That really cut through me.
No.
I was like, oh, come on, guys, give me something.
Yeah. Have you gotten like the crowd just like not reciprocating the joke? Like they're looking at they listen to the joke and they're like, that was a bit too dark. That was a bit too much. Like we attended with the twins as well. I forget the name of the place. And it was basically just a group of just like rich white people. Yeah. And the twins cracked like a very risque sort of joke, and you just hear everyone just go, "Oh no! Wow, how dare he! Oh no, why did he say that?"
Of course.
And it's just
Well, it's because they always say people have a sense of humor. It's not a fact of humor.
But there you go. Yeah.
You know, it's the same as if you're eating something. Like you can just serve up something and people go, "This is not for me."
Yeah.
And so tastes vary and situations vary. And you're right. Sometimes you're dropping things and going, "This is no good.
Yeah.
This is not working right now."
Yeah. Yeah.
So what's your perfect crowd? Who do you make people, like which type of people do you make laugh? The millennials or the weirdos or the oldies or the rich guys? Which one?
Oh, oldies. This is cutting. Jeez, this is, okay, here we go.
Like a boomers.
I always say invariably your audience is usually wherever you're at in your life.
Okay.
You know, invariably,
All right.
not always,
Makes sense.
but usually. So people that come to my shows are usually at my point in my life, like in their 40s usually. I get a lot of couples. I feel like, I don't know what that is. I usually get couples usually turn up on dates and go, "Oh, this is nice, that's great." And so invariably, I mean, I talk more and more about my family and my kids and things like that. So I think I get like families turning up, especially young kids.
Yeah.
But anyone who'll pay is the demographic I'm looking for.
Yep.
The most important.
What medium do you enjoy the most? So obviously you've got, you got radio, you've got TV, on stage, but which element do you think allows you to be the most comical out of all of them?
I like live the best.
Live the best, yeah.
But then, so even with TV, I prefer panel shows.
Yeah, gotcha.
Things like that, because you're getting a visceral live response.
Yeah.
I always work better in that.
Right.
Whether it's the awkwardness within me, if I can hear a palatable reaction, I go, okay, this is working out all right.
Yeah.
Because all comedy really is breaking tension. And then when you hear the laugh, you know that the tension's been broken. Like, I don't know how people in live theatre do drama where you just stop and go, I hope that did a good job. Like,
because there's no reaction.
There's no reaction from the audience.
Yeah.
And so I prefer that. Like, anytime I've done acting, they say the comedians are really good actors once, which means they do one take and go, great, because that's what stand-up comedy is. You get one take.
Yeah.
And then they go, can you do it again? You're like, I've already done it.
Yeah.
So they reckon stand-up comedians are quite bad at just repeating the same thing like perfectly every time. Because I notice even myself, I'll start getting bored the odd time I've done acting. And then by the 8th take, you're doing this and they're like, we don't need you to change it. We need you to repeat it so that camera on the different angle gets that response. So, okay.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So how do you go about creating your jokes? Because I know Limo said he keeps like a journal.
Yeah.
Right. He said it, and then Whoosy also does the same thing apparently.
Yeah.
Like every day, whatever funny happens in their life or something, or whatever they think of, they write it down and then just amalgamate everything, and then boom, here's a joke. So how do you go about creating your jokes?
Nah, mine's just raw natural talent, guys.
It's gifted, man.
Yeah. It just comes out of me. I don't know. I'm the conduit to comedy. No, I'm like those guys. It's funny because in your phone now, because we used to have journals, and I sound like an old man. That's how it used to work.
Yeah.
And now with your phones, your notes are just full of all these ideas.
Yeah.
And when I say ideas, guys, it's not like there's perfectly formed jokes. If you went through it, you'd think it's the manifesto of an insane man. Because there's sometimes just things that pop out in your eye and you go, is there something in that?
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily anything that's got a punchline, just an idea. So then it's full of those notes on my phone, and then I get on my laptop. When it's time to write stuff, I'll sit down and go, okay, we need to write. And then I work it out long form.
Yeah.
And then you try it out that night at a comedy venue. I can tell you guys there's nothing more entertaining than turning up on an open mic night when comedians are trying to get their show up.
Okay.
Because it's usually, like, Melbourne Comedy Festivals invariably around March or April. And we're trying to get our shows up before then. So if it's January, February in Melbourne and the comedians all dropping into rooms to try the material out, there's nothing funnier as in off stage, because it's just comics walking around looking like they're being shot. Just going, I don't know if this joke's going to work, man. I don't know how it's going to go. And then they walk off stage going, none of that worked. I don't know what happened. Because we've just got to try it out. You got to try your gags out. They don't exist until you try them out in front of an audience.
So you don't try your jokes to like family, friends, or anything before? Do you just go, right? I'm jumping in a deep end. Here we go.
See, it was myself and Matt Stewart, who's another great comedian. We were talking about it where we tried out in our partners, and I've got to stop doing it. Okay. Because I'll get really excited about a gag. Yeah. And my partner's also she's busy. She just got back from work. We're both getting dinner together. We're doing something. I go, what do you reckon of this? And she's like, what makes you think I want to hear a gag right now? And then even if it's good, I'll drop it. And she's like, what are you talking about? Yeah. And I don't know why I keep doing it. Yeah. But I'm like a kid with a new shiny toy that I just want to show her. And I go, hey, look at this. So I've tried to pull back on that and think it only works in front of an audience. My family is not an audience. They don't need to. Yeah. They don't need to hear all this.
Yeah. We actually saw that, Reza and I, when we were at one of the open mics. Like you said, it's just literally comedians walking around. Some of them are, passing out. They're like, is this joke going to work? Is this not going to work? I think we had some bloke from the UK. He was like rehearsing his line. It looked like he was just talking to himself. He was literally facing the wall and just like running lines. And it looked like he was just talking to himself. When the Reza just like, he's going to bomb. And then he went on stage and he pulled the mood.
He did?
He did, yeah.
I mean, this is a great thing about technology. You can talk now in your car on your own and everyone goes, oh yeah, he's on hands-free. Yeah, you just talk to yourself like a crazy person.
Yeah, yeah.
But it is that. I mean, when I first started, I had a really bad memory for remembering lines. So I'd have to go through it on my own in my bedroom at least 3 times. And when I'm trying out new material. And it's crazy. Like, it's embarrassing. I now sometimes if I've got to try new material and I do think, oh, this is a bit tricky, say like the words that I've written and you're like, oh, I think I need to go over this a couple of times because I need to hit it just exactly right. Yeah. And then I'm in my bedroom doing this. And my partner's walked in and she's like, what are you doing? And there's nothing. You're like, close the door. What are you doing? I'm embarrassed. And I'm standing there almost having an imaginary gig in my bedroom. Like I'm even holding an imaginary mic in front of my face.
Yeah. Did you do that before you gig?
No comment.
No comment.
Yeah, you do.
You have to. Yeah. Like the whole time at the Exford, like Reza would try to talk to me, and I'm like, "Don't talk to me right now. Don't talk to me." And then I'll run a joke by him, and he at one point he just looked at me and just went, "Yeah, Abdullah, dog shit." He's like, "Exactly. Yeah, not a good joke." And then that kind of ruined my morale as well. And I went back on the drawing board. I'm like, starting to do the lines again. Yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough. It's not easy.
Man,
Because you think like, you just jump on, say, crack a few jokes. It's tough. It's tough.
I know, because I think the greatest trick that stand-up comedy ever played was the great people make it look easy.
There you go. Yeah.
And so everyone goes, and I know I fell for that when I first started it. Because you go, how hard is it? I stand, I'm talking to a microphone, literally. Happy days.
Yeah.
And then when you're up there and the light's on you and you've forgotten your gags and the gags that you do know are terrible and the crowd's giving you nothing, you think, this is really hard.
Because technically, like, public speaking is a fear for so many people. And then, so you're doing public speaking and then you're there trying to make people laugh. Yeah. So it's like a double whammy. It's like double the pain because you're doing 2 things that are very difficult, right? So coming back to, like, when you started comedy, right? Your first gig. I want to hear about your first gig because we heard about his first gig. The first gig always sucks. And whenever we have comedians on the podcast, the first gig is always horrible. Share with us your first gig.
Watch it be the most immaculate gig that he's ever done.
Yeah, no, I smashed it. I don't know what they're talking about. I made all these bad gigs up just for something to chat about with you guys. No, of course I did. Of course. I learned so many lessons in my first gig because raw comedy is something that people might have heard from Triple J, which is this competition where people have never done stand-up before, we can give it a shot, and it happens all around the country. And I grew up in Geelong, and so the Geelong Performing Arts Centre had their heat of raw comedy. And I remember my birthday's in December, and I remember getting on the website when I was, 21, I think. and thought, yep, I'm doing this then. And this gig was in March. And so I spent 4 months writing and rewriting and going through all the nerves and telling mates, and they were saying that was rubbish and whatever. And then I got up on stage, I remembered on the night, was so nervous. And I wasn't expecting the light to be so bright.
Yes.
Don't you reckon?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, you just don't expect, because it's the spotlight that's right in your eyes. Where else would you do that?
Yeah.
Where you just
100%.
stand staring at a light.
Yeah.
And so I was shook by that, then wrestled with the mic a little bit. And there's nothing more deadening in a room when all you're hearing is that of a mic just getting moved, trying to get moved out of a stand. And I riffed a little bit at the top. I got nothing. And then I went blank. I just completely forgot about everything I was about to say. And I stood there for 5 seconds just trying to remember the words. But that 5 seconds felt cavernous.
Forever. Yeah.
Yeah. And then went, and then kind of told a couple, they went okay. And it was weird because I remember thinking the gags I thought were okay didn't go that well. And ones that I thought were meh went better.
Yeah.
So like, I got no idea here. And then walked off.
Yeah.
Just sweating. Same as I just talked about last night, to be honest. In 20 years, I haven't learned anything.
Doesn't stop sweating. Do you sweat when you have a good performance as well?
Yeah, I tend to. Yeah, I tend to sweat anyway.
Are you sweating right now?
Regardless, of course, guys. Under the scrutiny of these hard questions.
Yeah.
No. It's and so then walked off, and it was funny when you have a bad gig. It's like Moses parting the Red Sea. Like you walk out to the audience, and people just, it's
Move out of the
like,
way.
oh man,
Yeah.
they will just get out of your way. Like I don't even want to look at this guy because I have no idea what to say to him. And none of my mates, none of us performed, none of us were actors or we knew nothing about going to a performance other than maybe watching some bands. So my mates didn't know, because I've noticed since being around it for a while, people who are in theatre understand the words to say to someone even if they haven't done a good job. Like you can go, wow, that was great. How did it feel up there? Was that fun for you? Like you can say all those questions that kind of you're not saying anything but you're asking something.
Yeah.
They just looked away. Like, I'm not sure if we can be friends anymore.
Yeah.
Like, it's just the awkwardness was palpable.
Because the twins got Reza and I in by telling the organisers of the event that, look, I got some international comics coming in.
International
Comics,
hello.
right? And then they'll look at us like, is these the international comics that you're talking about? You just pulled a mood on stage. Is that what you're talking about? And we'll just like hide our faces and just like walk out.
There's an accent I hear there. Have you got?
An accent?
Yeah.
No, I'm just straight Australian, man.
He was born in Norway.
I was born in Norway.
There's a bit of a Viking.
Norska.
I can only count till 10.
Oh yeah.
What's Norska?
Norska is the Norwegian, basically.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Are you Viking too, or what's going on?
No,
here?
I dated a girl from Norway once.
I see.
So I was
Wasn't successful.
No.
Clearly.
So I learned a couple of buzzwords just to get me over the line.
Literally just Norska.
Yeah, that's it.
That's all it's called. Yeah.
It's always, isn't it funny? Language barriers will come down if you're attracted to someone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's
You're
Pakistani
trying
though.
to-
He's
Yeah, my
Pakistani.
ethnicity is Pakistani. But generally when I talk, especially when I'm telling stories, I kind of fall into accents. So I think probably that's why you probably.
Oh, really?
picked it up. Yeah. So depending on.
He makes a lot of accents in the office.
so
Oh
it
my
ju-
goodness.
It just depends on the conversation, the story. Like the accent just comes out.
You know, they say that's empathetic people. They say, could you do the thing where if someone's got an accent and I have this problem where I'm not trying to take the mickey out of them, you
But
literally slide into their accent.
100% to make them feel comfortable.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Yes.
All the time.
Can you make his
I
accent?
had a Somali fella. I was saying a specific word the way he was saying it, and he just looked at me. He's like, "Are you copying me, bro?" I'm like, "No, it's just I don't know. I think it's just how I say it."
Isn't that weird when, you know, there's foreign words where you think, am I going to go for it here? Or am I just going to stick with my stupid Australian accent? You know, like, I don't want to be like, go to Loom and go, "May I have a kiss home?" You know, when you're trying to, and you think, which way am I going to go here? Am I actually going to commit? What am I going to do?
Like the rest of the sentence is just like Aussie English, and just that croissant, just that one part. Come on, just grab a croissant.
It's like even I got some Muslim mates, and sometimes I'm always like, "Salam alaikum." I'm not going to commit. I'm not going to commit. I was like, I was going to do it, but
Can you say salam alaikum?
Salam alaikum.
Salam alaikum.
Yeah, is that working?
It's not bad.
Perfect.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the only thing, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The rest is probably not like.
Allah
Probably
Akbar.
can't.
Isn't it always the way? Like the first words you always learn, don't you reckon? anytime I travel, the first words you learn, you're like, when people say, what words do you know? And you're like, hi, and then beyond that. It's just every atrocious word that language has to offer.
Literally. Yeah. Yeah.
Who are your... Go ahead.
No, I was just
Before I change the topic.
How are
and
you
ruin it for
with accents?
With accents. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm not bad. I haven't got a bad ear for accents and things like that. But obviously, when you're a white guy, there's certain accents we're not going to do.
Yeah, because it just comes off as racist.
I remember talking to my partner about this when we were first dating, because she's like, I don't understand. I was like, no, you don't understand. I'm not going to even attempt.
Yeah, are you good at doing accents though?
I'm okay.
Like,
yeah, not bad.
Can you show us something?
Oh, you want to see?
It's just like a dance monkey.
No, not honestly, because I thought I heard a little bit of South African.
He's South African.
That's South African there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did gigs over there. Hello, Machana. How's it, bro? Lekker, bro.
Sounds like Hitler or something.
Yeah. Afrikaans. Unfortunately, Afrikaans, that's when it's real heavy accent. Yeah, man. That's why it's not an easy accent. I've noticed, like when American actors, quite often they can't hit it. I think DiCaprio did a good job in Blood Diamond.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Amazing.
It's hard when it's your accent. It's like when you hear Aussie accents in American films, you're like, oh.
Yeah.
What sort of countries did you perform in? Any fancy countries?
Well, I did perform in South Africa.
Oh, okay, right.
I was over there for a few years. Awesome gigs, South Africa. Like
they have a
best.
sense of humor.
Mate, they loved it.
Yeah,
This was, God, again, 10 years ago.
All right.
And I was starting to think back then, like stand-up wasn't really around South Africa a lot, I don't think. Like when I was there, it wasn't like as much as it, say, in kind of Western countries. And they loved it.
Right.
Like they were kind of losing their minds.
Did you customize your joke to South African people or like just going for your standard?
I had a couple of gags that I threw in there. Like one thing I loved is that they don't call them traffic lights. They call them robots. Couple of robots. People would always say that, and I loved it.
Robots.
Yeah. They're like, oh no, the robot went green. Then up the drive, and you're like, what did you just say? I was like, where's the robot? Just a robot.
Like anything technology is like a robot.
Robot. But I loved it because at intersections there's a sign that says robot ahead. And that was the gag. I'd stop on a red light being like, where's this robot? This is sick.
The roundabouts are called circles.
Circles?
Just simple humans.
Yeah.
Simple humans, yeah.
Simple living, man.
Yeah, man. Cool. But I loved it over there. Like they were heaps of fun.
Do you find you have to like tailor? Sorry to cut you off. Do you find you have to tailor the actual joke depending on the country you're performing in?
Like there's turns of phrases that people just won't understand. Certain things, you just go, I've got to fix that, or they don't know what I'm saying.
Have you performed in America yet?
Yeah.
How'd you find that? Because obviously there's an accent barrier, right? For some reason, Americans just can't understand.
There's a bit of that. I have to slow down because I think I talk quickly anyway, and then I have to slow down for them, just because to try and figure out what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But weirdly in America, I found it was a bit cool. It might be different now because I've noticed Australians turn up to places. Initially we're cool, and then too many turn up, and everyone gets over it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you go to London, they're like, oh, here we go again, another Australian. And so when I went over, someone was like, oh, cool accent. So they thought it was still a bit cool. But I mean, obviously, like local things, you got to change.
Yeah.
I can't be talking about the 86 tram when I'm in New York or whatever.
Yeah.
That's true.
But I mean, if you can find generalities, I don't find it's that hard to change.
What's the worst country you've had a gig at?
The worst country? That's interesting. I don't know. I don't find it. Like, I don't know. I can't wash over. Admittedly, I haven't tried that much in non-English speaking countries because that'd be a hurdle. But I've got, it's funny in saying that, like I went to Singapore, did gigs there. A, there's a lot of expats, but B, if you start talking about, because I've got jokes about just spelling and like how all over the shop the English language is for that. And for people, if English isn't their first language, I notice they love it.
Yeah.
Because they've tried to learn English and go, none of this makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so those kind of gags go well.
Yeah.
But no, I haven't been to anywhere where you could just blanket say that wasn't a lot of fun, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, it sometimes just depends. Yeah, just on the demo.
How does like people in South Africa and Singapore be like, yeah, I want Dave Thornton? Like, how do they know of you? Like, are you like how do they find you?
Oh no, usually in those situations because they'll run clubs. So
Okay.
they have comedy clubs, and if you just say I'm coming over, they're like, yeah, absolutely, do this.
Right.
And then like the one in South Africa, it was a lineup gigs of so all different comedians getting up in this show, and I'm not exactly sure how they picked me in that one. Like I didn't look the gift horse in the mouth. I was like, cool, yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah.
And so they just sourced comedians from everywhere. You know what was weird? You know Trevor Noah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing.
So he was in South Africa, and it was so weird because he hadn't gone to America yet, hadn't hosted the Daily Show, and he was only famous in South Africa. And it was so weird turning up to a country where you have no context on someone's fame,
Yeah.
and then you find out as you get to know them.
Yeah.
Because he was lovely, and I turn up, and he loved stand up, and so we were talking stand up, and we're hanging out. And then it was kind of weird because you'd be walking down the street and literally people go, "Oh my god, it's Trevor!" and start losing it. And I'm like, "What's going on, Trevor?" And he's like, "Oh,
You
he'd be
just
really."
there like
And
a
then
bodyguard or
you- yeah.
something.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He'd be all humble and dismissive, and I was like, and after a few days, I'm like, "Are you famous?" And he kind of went, "Oh," because he was a bit sheepish about it.
Yeah.
And then literally, I was heading home, and he's on a billboard for an Audi,
Oh no.
Jeez.
like some Audi dealership in
Yeah.
South Africa, and I was like, "Okay, you are massively famous."
Yeah.
here." And it was so odd just watching it when you have no point of reference.
Yeah.
Have you performed in like Australian or American bases in Afghanistan and Iraq? Because I know Limo did, and he had some crazy stories. Did you do anything fancy like that?
I haven't done anything like that. Like since having kids, I got invited over,
Oh, okay.
but I'd had kids by then, and
You don't wanna
they said,
die.
"Do you want to head over?" And you're like, "Okay, what's going on?" Like, we can't tell you where you're going.
Oh
I
no.
was like, yeah, nah, no
And,
chance.
I was talking to my partner, and she said, "I prefer if you didn't,"
yeah.
Yeah.
which makes complete sense. I mean, yeah, that's.
I'm assuming
that's
they offered more in terms of money because it was a more interesting gig.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that.
Yeah.
But it's weird. Like, here's your money, and here's your flat jacket. You may take a bullet. I don't know if this money's worth it.
Because Limo was sharing all these crazy stories. I'm like, man, you're brave, man. Just to make people laugh.
Yeah.
You're risking your life. It's crazy.
I mean, he knows way more about all this stuff than I do.
Yeah.
And he's gotten to know then since some soldiers and guys in the SAS and things. But I've met a couple of SAS guys through Limo,
Okay.
and they're crazy guys. Like, they're usually really funny guys because they've got a really dark sense of humor because
Yeah,
they
I could imagine,
see
yeah.
some really gnarly stuff. So I always say people who see gnarly things, or like I've noticed people in social services, people who work at hospitals, they usually got a dark sense of humor
Yeah.
because I reckon you've got to purge whatever you've just seen or witnessed.
Yeah.
And it's almost like you need something just as strong as a catharsis to get whatever is in your head out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why when people say, "Oh, yeah, it's a dark sense of humor, it's a little off color," and I'm like, yeah, sometimes it's a survival technique.
Yeah.
Like those SAS guys, like they're usually really funny, but I'm like, yeah, because if you don't laugh at that situation, it's going to bury you.
Yeah.
You know, and they're not laughing at it, they're not being dismissive. I reckon it's just a survival technique.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's similar to that.
Oh yeah, I have that too. Where like anything, it's not even awkward. Even if it's devastating, my immediate reaction is just laugh.
Yeah.
Just don't know how to deal with it.
And mind you, he's not SAS or anything. I don't even know.
Yeah.
Well, you're all in black, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Who is undercover?
Yeah, my friend of mine, his father passed away not too long ago,
Yeah.
and we attended obviously the burial ceremony, and his father was in the casket, and it was 4 of us friends. He's like, "Do you want to come see my father before we bury him?" And we're obviously around the dead body, and in my head I'm like, I was pinching myself. I'm like, I cannot laugh. Right, there's a dead body in front of me, and I just didn't know how to actually control that emotion. And it wasn't a funny situation. It was just like I just don't know how to handle the emotion.
I think sometimes that's what people need to discern.
Yeah.
You know, in this day and age when people think, "Oh, you're making a joke about," and it's like, I'm not laughing at them.
Yeah.
This is a way for me to process this
100%.
situation.
Yeah.
And so I'm not dismissing them, or you think I'm being offhand. I'm not. This is just how I process it all.
Yeah. Exactly.
This is how it all comes through. Because I'm a bit the same as you. Like, I'll make an off-color joke just to break tension because I can't handle it.
Yeah. Oh, 100% all the time. That's any time we're in a conversation setting, we're in a corporate meeting, and it just comes out. You have to just lighten the tension. Yeah.
How do you address, because the current world's a bit interesting right now because everyone's becoming sensitive and snowflakes and everyone has different political issues and whatnot. How do you navigate your comedy around everyone's sensitivity?
You can't.
You can't?
You can't.
Yeah.
Like, you're trying to win over the mob. And I've noticed, because I've started posting more things online, you're going to hit a snag no matter what you do. That's what I've realised. And I guess if whatever's in your heart, that's the only thing you can control. Like, if you put it out with genuine malice, you're like, yeah, that's no good. But like I got a clip I put out. It was just about ordering an Uber for my 74-year-old mum, and she had no idea how to pay for it.
Okay.
Like we get to the destination, she pulls out a $50 note.
Right.
And she's like, "I'll pay." And I'm like, "What? No, you can't pay." You know, the driver's like, "No, she can pay." You're like, "Oh, no, all right, calm down. Get your hands off my mum's money." But and the whole punchline of the joke was I just said, when she was confused, just do what I do if you found yourself in that situation, which is I opened my side of the door, took one step out, leaned back into the car, looked at my mum in the eye and said, "Run." And it's like, it's an innocuous joke. It's a joke about my mum not knowing what's going on an Uber, you know.
Yeah.
And the amount of, I was really shocked because it was boomers. It was obviously people who were older, who are usually the ones that are throwing at our generation or younger that, "Oh, look at you snowflakes. We used to be able to laugh at everything. And now you guys get sensitive about everything."
Yeah.
And it was all older people going, "Oh, this is ageist. This
You're
is
kidding.
Oh, wow.
You know,
Ageist is a thing?
And then,
Ageist.
you know, not all old people, we know what's going on. I know what an Uber is." And I was like, "I'm not saying you don't.
Yeah.
I'm not
That's crazy.
I'm not accusing you of anything. It was something that was half funny that happened between my mum and I."
Yeah.
But yet people will just find, if they're going to find insult, they'll find it.
Yeah.
So at the end of it all, I just go, "Oh, well."
Yeah. Does that stop you from then wanting to post on
Yeah.
social media instead of
And get
just-
creative with
Yeah.
your juices.
Sometimes it's a little bit frustrating because you second guess yourself.
Yeah.
And you think to yourself, "Oh, that's not what I meant there." Or, you know, sometimes people look into something and find something and you go, "That's not what I was trying to say."
It just gets clipped the wrong way, I guess.
Yeah, and people look at it like, and I mean, the internet's divisive as it is, isn't it? Like, there's no nuance in it.
Yeah.
And so people, I mean, I've been accused of both things. I've been accused of being right wing. I've been accused of being
The other way.
a lefto progressive.
Yeah.
And you're like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So which wing are you?
Oh, this is what you put me on this podcast to find
That's the golden question.
So, it's taken us this long, but yes, we need an answer. We've got you here. I mean, I don't know. If anything, I find most comedians, yes, there's some guys on either side of it. Most of us, in this day and age, being sensible is a kind of political statement in itself. If you're just in the middle going, "That's a bit weird,"
Yeah.
the people on the fringes go, "Is it? Is it?"
Yeah, literally.
100%.
And you go, "Okay," so it's kind of subversive
Yeah.
to sometimes say, "This is a bit much."
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's a strange time we live in.
It is. It is.
It makes you wonder in 10, 20 years what we'll be looking back on in 2023 and going, "What happened there?"
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Well, it's going to get worse. One of these. You just don't know where it's going to go.
yeah, it could, or it could swing the other way. Like
Possibly, yeah.
found kind of post lockdown and pandemic, I've noticed people are like, "I don't want any more anger in my life." You know, like I don't want to be divisive or even I've noticed people pull back on the news. Like a friend of mine works at the ABC and he said he noticed on radio and the numbers have gone down because he feels that people are just a bit sick of the news because you're living it and there's been so much of it that now you're like, let's just have some fun, will we?
Yeah.
Is there anything wrong with that?
Yeah.
And you also kind of get desensitized to news now as well, where something major can happen. He's like, "Yeah, all right, next."
Yeah, there's a bit of that, isn't there?
Yeah.
It kind of gets desensitized.
Yeah.
I mean, I stopped watching the news all through lockdown because, as I said to my partner, we were living it. And I said, "I know it sounds really bad, but I knew a lot of businesses that were struggling, cafes that were close by. But I'm like, I'd prefer to talk to the person who owns the cafe, find out how they're going, help them out how I can.
Yeah,
Because they're
100%.
right there.
Yeah.
That's malleable. That's something I can contribute to. When sometimes on the news, when you hear a person going, "Oh, yeah, my business has gone under," I just feel bad for them. And then I'm just carrying that around.
Yeah.
I know that sounds really crook, but I thought I'd prefer to have someone close by that I know, at least I can ask them how they are.
100%. Yeah.
So what were you doing during COVID? Were you unemployed or? I know Tahir was giving jokes through Zoom,
Oh,
and it's like it was the
that's
worst experience I've ever had. Were you?
Zoom gigs. Zoom was the worst.
You done it?
Oh yeah.
Oh no way!
The hard thing was we got a little bit too comfortable with it. Me and comedians were talking about it where you're just sitting there in your underwear in a chair doing your Zoom gig and then you go, "Goodbye." You go, "This is possibly more dangerous." But the hard thing was on Zoom because Zoom can't take everyone talking at the same time.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
a lot of the times people have to be on silent.
Yeah.
So everything I spoke about earlier of getting a visceral reaction from people, most of the time on Zoom gigs, there was silence.
Oh, so
Okay.
you couldn't. Right. Yeah.
And so you're just delivering your gags
To silence.
to what?
Yeah.
yeah.
and I remember the first one I ever did, which is when we weren't really used to Zoom yet. And so we're all just still trying to figure it out. And it was a gig that was on at 5:30 after everyone had finished their shift at work. It was some office. And it was nice for them to throw me some money to do a gig. But it made me laugh because, you know, we figured out on Zooms that after a while you could just turn the camera off and say, "Yeah, I'm on the Zoom." And then you could just walk
Yeah.
off.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we hadn't figured that out yet. So I'm doing this gig. And again, it was 5:30. I get people wanting to knock off work. Like they couldn't be bothered. But they were a Melbourne-based business. So everyone was locked inside. Like you had to stay inside your house for 23 hours a day.
Yeah.
And I'm doing this gig, but people are just bailing on the Zoom gig. Like I can see the numbers going down as I'm telling all my gags.
Oh, jeez.
Like, people are locked in their house and they're still like, still it's better than this shit. They couldn't be bothered. The worst one was they figured out to do lunchtime gigs. That was usually the one that worked because people, fair enough, what else are you doing? You're kind of on your computer. They go, hey, here's something, stand-up gig. Hopefully you get some laughs. And I did notice through lockdown, as weird as they were, people were appreciative. Like I would get people send me DMs going, oh, thanks, man. That was a bit of a break, something nice.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. But this one was for a business where I usually get in on the Zoom gig and you get in before everyone else gets on the call just to be like, oh, so who's going to be on this call? What's it about? Are you the host? Cool. Can you just introduce me this way? Make it a bit easier, whatever. And I get on there and there's this kid who looked mid-20s. And I said, oh, what's going on, mate? Because I usually talk to the MD or the CEO or something like that. And he said, I don't know. I'm in IT, mate. And I said, well, what is this? He said, I'm not sure. I've just been asked to set it up.
Right.
Oh, jeez.
And it was on Microsoft Teams, which if anyone uses that, you don't see people on the other side. It's just you.
Okay.
And I said, so what's this all for? And he said, I don't know, some lunchtime thing, I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to give you an intro and then you go. And I said, are you going to be on the call? He goes, nah, then I bail. I'm like, who is on this call? He goes, don't know.
Oh, Jesus.
And so it's just him going, g'day guys, this is Dave Thornton. He's done X, Y, and Z. You might have seen him on these TV shows, whatever. Here he is. Then it just goes on me. And I just talk for 20 minutes. To who? I still don't know. Just talking to myself.
No reaction. That you can't.
I don't know who was on it. I don't know what it was for. All I know it was for this business, but that was it. And then I just kind of went, and you're saying goodbye to yourself? You know, it's like, so yeah, that was cool, guys. And then just closed my laptop. And then I just walked the empty streets of Melbourne because we're in heavy lockdown. I called my manager and she's like, how are you? I'm like, I just want to talk to someone. I just want to be close to someone. Yeah. It was like it was Armageddon because it was the end of days.
You were like the main character of your life then, mate. It's just you in the world.
Mate, it was like that. But it was like one of those like World War Z or something. Yeah. It's like the zombies had taken everyone and I was doing gigs to no one. You know what I mean?
It's got Will Smith, I'm Legend going on.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I'm walking around with my dog going, do you want to hear another joke? You're not right in the head, mate.
He's just talking to his mannequin like,
hey, man, you want to hear a joke? What do you do for a living, bro? Like, it was just insane. It was insane. The craziest time.
You got paid, though.
Yeah, well, that was what I kept telling myself. I'm like, I get paid. Well, after a while, my partner, because I'd walk into the front room, do a gig, walk out 20 minutes later. She's like, was that you? And I was like, that's my work shift done. Sick.
That's ridiculous, man.
yeah.
I mean, that were the crazy times. That was how
that's
weird
crazy.
it got on it during lockdown.
Do you prefer that or the mahooting on stage?
Who do you like get up there?
And
Man, I've talked about dying so much. Everyone will be like, I'm going to go to this guy's show just to hear him die. I don't die that often. I just want to get that out of the way. But it's always the dying stories are the ones that are the most interesting.
They're interesting, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like a comedian going, yeah, I had a really great show and everyone thought I was awesome. You're like, that's not a story.
Tell us the funny stuff. Look,
Yeah.
how bad you fail.
Yeah, that's what you want to hear. Unfortunately, that's what you want to hear in comedy.
That's the good stuff.
Yeah, that's
But
always the good
speaking
stuff.
of that, what's the biggest flop you've ever had?
Flop?
Yeah, biggest one. Or did anyone just be like, boo, get off the stage? Like, what was the most embarrassing moment?
I've never had anyone boo me off stage. I'm just trying to think. Like, I've never had... Actually, I'll tell you this story because this just makes me laugh just because when he told me, and I'm sure he's cool with me telling this story. It's Mike Wilmont's this Canadian comedian. He's really gruff and he's really blue, but he's an older guy.
Yeah.
Like now, geez, I don't know, Mike would have to be in his probably, 60s or 70s now.
Oh, okay.
So he told me this story a little while ago. And like I said, like he chain smokes, he drinks, he's got this really gruff voice and he's got really blue material. Like he comes out of the gates and you're like, okay.
Yeah.
And he told me this story about, because he lived in London for years and this guy saw him at a show and it was, he probably saw him on a comedy night, on stage at 10 o'clock at night. Does his blue material and the guy goes, hey, I could book you for my work gig.
Yeah.
He's like, you sure, man? Like, you just saw what I did. I'm like, this is how Mike would be like, I don't know, man. You sure about this? You sure about this? And the guy goes, no, you'd be perfect. Yeah, it'd be great. Okay. So this guy books him. He strolls up on the day. It's middle of the afternoon and it's he said about 2 hours out of London. He gets this thing, and it's like it's a council setup, like in the middle of the afternoon at a council hall. And so there's the mayor, the local area, all these councilmen, and all this. So it's all a bit stuffy. Yeah. They do all that, and then, oh, okay, here's the comic stylings of Mike Wilmot. He gets up and does his normal material, and it is tanking. Like people are insulted. Yeah. Oh, wow. Because he's just been blue. It's the middle of the afternoon. People are like, why is this guy doing this? Yeah. So he gets off after he's allocated 20 minutes. And he walks up to the guy and he's like, I told you that's what I do. Why would you book me for this? And the guy goes, man, that's perfect. So you see, my boss is the mayor and I hate him. I'm going to quit tomorrow. So that was perfect.
Oh, wow.
Like he just lined him up just to bomb, just as an FU to his boss. Like he hated him. Jeez. I'm like, wow, you got lined up to get reamed.
Right, yeah.
That's a lot. But no, I've never been booed off stage, never been. Oh, actually, in saying that.
Here we go.
Yeah. me and my mates did. Actually, we still talk about this. It was Troy Kinney and Tom Seagate, who are two really good comedians. And we started out together. And we would quite often go to like cricket clubs or footy clubs or just social things where people would book us to do 20 minutes each, a stand-up. So you do 20 minutes on stage, have a bit of a break, then guys, you can go get something to eat, drink, come back, another one and another one. So it was us three, and Monty Franklin was another guy that we did it with. So the four of us would kind of rotate, if you know what I mean. Like one of us would take a night off, the other three would work, and then we'd rotate the lineup. So whoever was on last gig, going first this time. So we were right out in the southeastern suburbs here in Melbourne. Kooey Rupp is a place that's right out. Like it's the outskirts of Dandenong. It's like out. And we get there, and this is this footy club, which we found out later wasn't going well. And I knew things were a little off. Like it's real country footy. Like I remember seeing the coach, he was drinking with what looked like the under-15s. I was like, this is a lot. This is a bit much. And they got a band that gets up there and plays cover songs and everyone's dancing along. And then they just go, oh, everyone, stop the music. We've got some comedians. And then everyone would sit down, really annoyed that they had to stop dancing. And then we'd have to go on stage.
Oh, no.
And Troy Kinney and Tom Seagate, they're like killer acts. Like they're just rock solid. You're thinking they're getting laughs for sure.
Yeah.
So I can't remember which one got up. I think it was Troy. He gets up. Nothing. Like you could hear a pin drop and they're all just sitting there with their arms crossed.
Oh,
like,
no.
What's this?
Oh, no.
And he gets off going, I don't know what that was. Same thing. Band goes on. Band goes on for like 2 hours because they're loving it.
Yeah.
Same thing. Sit down. And then Tom does his. Now, by this time, Tom's on stage at like 10 o'clock at night. It's getting late and we're like, oh, this is good. Then there's another big break. And then there's me. I'm going on at like 11:45 at night.
Yeah.
And these guys have been drinking for 4 hours or something.
Yeah.
And I get up and I told a couple of gags. And they hated me like they hated the other guys. And I just said, hey, don't worry about it. You guys, like, it's all good. You guys want to, you want to listen to a band. I'm not annoyed. Just, we'll call it.
Yeah.
So I walk off stage and then the coach comes bolting in and he comes with this guy. I don't know where he got this guy from. Like, he can't play footy. This guy was like, he's about 6'6" and was like about 140 kilograms.
Tyson Fury, what's going on here?
Yeah. Like, it's like he had this guy chained up in a basement and just went, all right, now there's problems. Bring him out. This guy's behind him. He's like, and even the big guy, he didn't look all like, he didn't look like he was all there as well. So it's a bad combination of a big guy who looked like he was a bit simple. I'm like, oh God. This guy goes, what was that? And I was like, man, no one cared. Like, it's fine. Just take my money back. And I think we were getting paid each, off memory, like, I think $600 each or something like that. So I was like, hey, it's all right.
No, I'm bad.
And I said, just take my $600. He goes, what's $600? I said, well, you know, it's $600. It was $1,800 for all of us. He's like, nah, man, it was $4,000 for all of us. And the guy who booked the gig charged double and took all the money.
Oh, jeez.
So I didn't know there was that much money on offer. So then I'm like twice as much in the hole now. I'm like, I don't know how you can get.
You got drop shipped, man.
Yeah, I was just like, what's going on? And then I was like, and he goes, you gonna give me the money? You gonna give me the money? And I was like, I don't know, man. And then like Tom Seagate was being really nice. I saw Troy Kinney recently where he was like, I reckon we can take him. I'm like, it's an entire football club. I don't think we're going to be able to do this. and then we said, and they said, okay. And after it all kind of settled down a bit, but they were still pretty furious. And they said, you guys need to leave now. And if you don't turn around, you don't say a word, we won't beat the living hell out of you. So it's up to you.
What?
So the three of us just scampered off. And it was like they just frog marched us out of the place. Like they're all standing out the front going, if they turn around once, we're on. And the three of us got into the car. And it was hilarious because we didn't say a word till we were like half an hour away. Then we gave it to them.
Wait until you had that distance on him. Yeah.
We're just out there with
Yeah, we're like on the other side of the city then. Yeah, idiots. Like, we hadn't said a word.
Taking yous, man.
Just in case they tapped us or something.
Yeah.
They're all just jumping their hot rods and shit, just chasing you.
Yeah.
So how far in was this in your comedy journey?
In the career, that was probably...
That was like last week, man.
Yeah, what are you talking about? This was probably 8 years in, something like that.
Damn.
Yeah, like when you're first getting into it, those first 10 years, like I did gigs everywhere.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just wherever they'll take you.
Did you do any RSL clubs?
Yeah, do RSL clubs,
How
stuff
are
like that. Nah, I mean, like I've done stuff. I've done things like I've performed at TAFEs where
TAFEs?
Oh wow.
you know, like I've stood there with one of those, you know, those mics and speakers that they have out the front of really dodgy clothes shops where the guys are all going, "There we go, lady skirts, $3." You know, like they're at the
It's like
market.
a little boombox and a mic attached to it.
Totally. I was standing like that with the mic, and on the other side of the room, they were giving away free lasagna. And so all these TAFE kids were lined up just waiting to get lasagna, and no one was looking at me.
looking.
There was even a guy sitting in front of me with his back to me.
Yeah.
And I said to him, "You can turn around." And I just saw from the back of his head him just shake his head
Oh,
and go, "I'm not turning
wow.
around." And I just did my time, walked off, drove home.
God. Oh, this will like character build you crazy. All this experience that you have.
You'd
It's like
think.
you're going to become bullet.
It's like I still cry every night, man.
Yeah, all I've got is just vendettas now.
so it hasn't made you stronger? You just...
Oh yeah, you get used
It's like
to
bulletproof
it.
now.
You get used to it. It is. It's kind of like the Nelson tunes we're talking about. It's just a rite of passage. There's just no way around not happening. Like it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you hope as you go along, it happens less and less.
Yeah.
And you hope you've got you're a bit more discernible so that you're not going to go, yeah, great. Like now ask questions and go, do you think this is a good idea? What are we doing here?
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
But as I pointed out at the start of this podcast, sometimes that's just what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is what
It
it
is
is.
what it is. Yeah. Yeah.
So before we wrap things up, so our friend Mahood here, Donna Mahood, and I think he gives up in comedy now. That's from what I've heard.
No, it's not.
Like, how could he reignite his hunger?
It's not really a give up. It's
Well,
just,
you're good at accents. You just keep turning up with a different accent, reinventing yourself.
you know what it is? It's like you also feel like that the comedy that, let's say for me, for example, right? The comedy that I have or the jokes that I have won't translate to the audience, right? So it's that you continuously battle with. It's like, will it be funny? Like I know in the office it's funny, at home with friends it's funny, but will it translate to the audience? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then again, the twins were always like, look, you just got to crank it out. You just got to go there and find your audience and just kind of keep, doing your minutes and doing your time.
That's kind of it. There's a level of that. Like it's as much endurance as it is enjoyment. Like you just have to keep going and find out what it is.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's times when you think, oh, what am I doing? There's easier ways to make a living.
Yeah.
But then the good gigs kind of weigh it out, and it's a good challenge. It is good. I talked to a professional golfer once, and I don't play a lot of golf, but it seems like there's a lot of similarities between stand up and golf.
Also,
Well, because it's only you. It's not a team sport.
okay.
As in when you're on stage.
Yeah.
Like there's definitely producers and managers and things and people run the rooms and that's a team. But I'm saying when you're on stage, it's just you. Kind of like a golfer. Like what you're up against is your own head.
Yeah.
Realistically.
Yeah.
When it gets to a point, you know what I mean? Like you've trained yourself, but then it's a battle internally to see if you can do it. And then you just never know what's going to happen kind of on the day.
Yeah.
Like you're up against the wind and the rain and whatever in golf. And it's a bit like that with stand-up. Like you're at the behest of whatever room you're in, what happened that day. Like I've got mates of mine that talk about, performing. What did my mate say? Performing after, I was talking to a comic recently where he said the day the Queen passed away, like it happened hours before he was about to do a trial show to try new material.
Oh no. Okay.
And he's in England. He's an English comedian. And it's like, what do I do here? Like,
Yeah.
the Queen just passed away. Do I just go, hey, guys, here we go? Like, what do you do in that circumstance? Do you push on through? Do you not?
Yeah.
So what did he do?
I think he said he kind of addressed it and then just went on. Because he asked the audience, he said, do you still want to hear some gags? And people were like, yeah. So they'd verbally given over like a contractual agreement to go, okay, we're here for some
I'm
laughs.
safe now.
Yeah, I'm good now. So it's all little things like that. That also, if it's been a rancid day, if it's been whatever, you know, like weather can affect you. Do you know what I mean? If it's a shitstorm outside and people are going through just horrific rain or something, they're not gonna walk into your room and be like, okay, who's up for fun? Like they're like, my clothes are soaking. I'm over this. What's going on? Is this
Yeah.
going to be any good?
100%.
So it's all little things like that that you got to be aware of and think, is it going to work or is it not? And that happens every gig. You've kind of got to be aware of that. Like a Wednesday night audience isn't going to give you as much as a Saturday night audience. It's just something you got to live with. And so it's all those little mind games and things that are playing in your head that you think, okay, I've got to take this on board and work it
Is
out.
there a lot of money in comedy?
Is there money?
Yeah.
Depends where you find it. I guess like anything in entertainment, like it's not like yes and no. You know what I
The
mean?
Iraq trips are probably worth it.
The what?
The Iraq trips.
The Iraq trip.
Oh
To the bases over there.
Yeah. There's a bit of that. You know, I'm assuming you guys are paying like, you know, 4 zeros are on the end of this paycheck for this podcast. Is that right? There was a very shy look for everyone.
He was getting paid?
This is when I meet Tyson Fury out in the next to the elevator. You want your money, do you, Chief?
What's next for you?
What's next?
Yeah, what are you up to?
Just finished a long tour, so kind of just a bit of a chill out at the moment.
Yeah.
As we're recording this, and then little bits and pieces. It's kind of the sum of the parts for me. Bit of TV,
Right.
and then you kind of start to touring again, like rewriting a new show and that kind of stuff.
What are you doing on TV?
Oh, just because I do a bit of work on the project,
Yeah.
stuff like that. You know, you just get guest roles in panel shows, things like that.
Right.
I'm shooting a special soon, stand-up comedy special. So, got to get all that organised. And,
Yeah.
Nice.
All right.
yeah.
Do you have any last questions, Mahud?
I can go on for another half an hour or so, but yeah, I think we'll
Yeah.
we'll
So,
wrap it up. Yeah.
Dave, the way we end the podcast is we ask 10 out of interest questions, which is 10 rapid fire questions.
Here we go.
Now you could answer them as fast or as slow as you want. It's completely up to you.
Okay.
And first question for you is your favorite comedian.
Favorite comedian?
Yeah.
How about make that? Put that in two, so national and one international as well.
Who? I mean, you, obviously.
Oh, obviously, no. Apart from myself, come on. Jeez.
And then internationally, you with an accent. You know what I mean? Like,
I like this guy, man. Reza, pay him.
give him the money. Oh, you want a real answer? Oh, you want an actual answer?
actual answer.
Oh, Jesus.
He retired,
okay,
man. He's gone.
Okay, here we go. An actual answer. I mean, Tom Gleeson. I love Tom for like a local act.
Okay.
He's awesome. And then an international act. Oh, there's so many. Like, I like a lot of stand-ups, but I guess like Bill Burr is incredible.
Bill, everyone says Bill
Bill Burr's solid.
Everyone
Yeah.
You
says
probably know this story he mentioned about when he bombed in a cafeteria, where he mentions where it was a similar gig, it was a lunchtime gig.
Yeah.
He's like, it was an hour gig, and he's like, I stood there for an hour and I was cracking jokes, not a single laugh. And at one point, someone just got up, came right in front of him, and just yelled at him, just ha ha, and it just basically just walked off. And he's like, this was like at the peak of his career as well.
Right.
Yeah.
That's embarrassing.
Ah, yeah, man.
But he didn't quit.
They didn't quit. Yeah.
Keeps
Yeah,
going.
he did. Yeah, he's done.
The most famous person you've performed in front of?
Damn, that one's interesting. I mean, I kind of interviewed Kim Kardashian in radio.
Oh, wow.
So
shit.
got a couple of gags out of it. It was really weird. She was married to Kanye at the time.
Right.
And she was talking about how bad Kanye was on FaceTime,
Okay.
which is kind of weird now because now you need to step away from any camera that's in front of him. But yeah, she was almost like, oh, he's really bad at FaceTime, like holding her phone up and like pointing at it. And like she had his like Kanye's number just popped up. Fair enough. It was her husband. But I found that weird. I was like, what's going like what?
Yeah.
I guess your life's just that's normal for you.
Yeah.
But that's about the most famous, I think, person. I've sat next to a prime minister. That was on the project.
Right. The Australian Prime Minister.
Yeah, that was Turnbull at the time. And I remember he just awkwardly went, "Oh, nice shoes." Like that was the one thing he said to me off air. I was like, "Thanks, Malcolm."
Good chat, buddy.
Yeah, that's what it was like. Yeah, thanks, Malcolm. Good stuff. Where'd you get your shoes from? I can't really remember. That was his answer.
Your favorite food?
Favorite food?
Yeah.
As in, I guess Is it meal or this is not rapid fire?
These are interview questions.
now I'm just answering long. Oh, there's a lot to edit out now. Okay, because I talk about this with my friends, like one single food or one like genre of food, if you know what I mean. Usually it comes down to countries. Do you know what I mean? Like if you want to eat Mexican, Japanese, Italian, Turkish, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So is that what we're saying? Well, which
let's go with a specific meal.
a specific meal?
Yeah.
I'd probably go like something Japanese.
Japanese, like
Yeah,
sushi of some sort.
Yeah, with wasabi or something like that.
Nice.
That's the stuff.
Yeah.
Bit of teriyaki salmon or something.
Your favorite superhero?
Oh,
You had to. Huh?
are you like are you?
No, I'm not a superhero.
No, I get it a lot. But
With these glasses, yeah.
Jesus, you might take the glasses off, get to a telephone booth. We were talking about that recently. What does Superman do now to change? Now the telephone booths are done.
Yeah, good point.
You know what I mean? He's only got those here. You've only got those Telstra boxes. You know that are now
Yeah,
internet ones with the glass on the side. You're definitely going, hey, bro, what are you doing? What are you stripping off in front of the kids for? What are you doing? That's gross. Superhero, I don't know. Batman, that'll do. I'm not a superhero guy.
Oh, damn, all right.
Michael Jordan, close enough.
Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Right, your deepest fear?
My deepest fear?
Yeah.
I'd say, honestly, like, rudimentary, but heights. Heights freak me the
Heights
hell out.
freak you-
Like,
okay.
I can sit at the back of the MCG. If I'm at the top, I'm like, this is no good.
Yeah.
Because level 4, it's steep as well, isn't it?
Real steep.
Yeah, it's steep as well. Like climbing up, you're like, whoa.
But like Eureka Tower here in Melbourne, where people go, oh, you get to do that little, you walk out and have a look. No,
Yeah.
absolutely not.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
What for?
If you can have a dinner with anyone, who would it be?
Oh, here we go. Mate, these are good questions because you feel like I could
Michael
sound really
Jordan?
interesting and be like, you know, Gundy, but then you go, yeah, but nah.
But he didn't even eat though.
Yeah. oh, great. You're going to go on a fast now, are you, mate? I booked this dinner in, for God's sake. That's funny. Yeah, I'll say Michael Jordan. I'll say MJ
Michael
again.
Jordan. Most famous person on your phone?
On my phone?
Yeah.
That's a really good question. Kim actually sent me a text.
Photo of Kanye.
yeah. Why do you think they broke up, bro? I'm trying to think. Most famous person. That's a tough one. I don't know. I mean, I guess I got Husey or Tommy Little or one of those guys. Yeah, one of those comics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably,
Okay.
I'd say.
Yeah.
That's disappointing, isn't it?
No,
No,
Tommy
no.
Little, come on. I don't have him on my phone.
Yeah, I don't have Tommy Little on my phone.
Oh, there you go.
That's
Yeah.
I have Tyson Fury on my phone, but that's a different story.
Oh, okay.
Hey.
That was a complete joke. That ain't happening. I don't think he ever will. What advice would you give your 18-year-old self?
What advice? Don't get that eyebrow ring that you think looks awesome.
Have you ever had one?
Solid.
Man, have I?
Yeah.
100% I had
You
one.
have?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Man, I was a kid of the late 90s. I'm older than all you guys. You don't know what it was like, man.
Right.
Yeah.
How old are you?
3/4 pants, eyebrow rings. It was a crazy time. People thought Limp Bizkit were cool. Like, it was a crazy time.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How old are you?
Me,
Yeah.
43 years old, guys.
43. You don't look 43.
Yeah, he didn't look that old.
I'll stop at you,
No,
Chalmers.
maybe two blue eyes.
Oh, look at that.
Makes
Oh,
him young.
mate,
Yeah.
mate, you've got a family. Back off. Like,
Even he's like, dude, I'm married, man.
yeah,
Leave me alone.
jeez, calm down, man. I know you're
I'm
away
Kim
from the button.
Kardashian, man. What's going on here?
Solid.
That's actually 8 questions because the other 2 we covered in the podcast. So
Did we actually?
we actually did. So
Amazing.
I'm not going to go into it.
Oh, you've used up all the questions.
Yeah, I did actually.
What were
Unfortunately.
they out of
Do you want to ask him 2 questions?
What was the 2 questions?
2 questions is his favorite. Fuck. The bombed. Which joke bombed?
Oh,
and
but
he-
then he answered that
he
one.
gave
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Do you want to
Yeah,
ask him any 2 rapid fire questions?
Rapid fire? No, not really. The only thing I was going to say is, I guess from an advice perspective,
Yeah.
I guess newly comics, because obviously you've got, back in the days there wasn't social media, right? So you kind of just did your time until you kind of, blow up or you became something. But now you've got social media.
Yeah.
So how do you think new comics should balance that? Should you just focus on social media, just putting out your content there, or like don't worry about the social media, that'll kind of just happen on its own?
I actually reckon with social media,
Yeah.
and again, I'm not what they call a digital native. Like the
Yeah.
internet turned up when I was
Yeah.
about 16. And then
Yeah.
you have to work dial up for 2 years
Yeah,
to see if you
yeah.
can get pictures of anyone, you know,
That's sus, man.
without their clothes on. And
It says the Norsk. He's like waiting for Jalisa, please.
yeah, I want to see Gillian Anderson. Here we go. Anyway, but I reckon with some young comics, I can understand how you want to throw stuff all out on social media.
Yeah.
But I actually do think you should. Now, when you think you're good enough to be a stand-up that you should start doing that, I don't know. But I do think you should wait until you've really gotten good at stand-up before you start getting into all that.
Right. So you do your time and just perfect your craft a couple of years, and then once it's somewhat good, you start posting it, basically.
Because I think then it's a bit of a poison chalice. Because if something does kick off and you actually get a bit of a backing, you haven't got the skills. If people come and see you, they'll be like, "Oh no, I don't know if this is any good."
Good point.
You know what I mean? Like you got to make sure the product's good. I think
Yeah.
before you start advertising it.
Yeah.
So that's how I would say it. But then I understand there's kids that grow up their whole lives around social media.
Yeah.
You know, if
Yeah.
you're 22 now, it's probably just been around you all the time.
Yeah.
So you probably got you're not reserved and throwing stuff out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Each their
100%.
own.
Yep.
Great.
Yep. Any other
So,
questions, man?
no, that's
All right,
all done
Dave.
for me.
It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the podcast. Just a great laugh.
Yeah, good
It
conversation.
was actually a good conversation.
Thanks, lads.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
it was a good chat. There's a
Yeah.
lot of laughing in the podcast. We might want to reduce the volume here and there, but look, thank you so much, Dave, and we wish you
Yeah.
the best for whatever you have, and hopefully you don't bomb anymore. Hey, you don't pull out on Mahood.
He literally said, he's like, I don't bomb.
Yeah, I don't.
Like everyone bombs, man.
Yeah.
It's normal.
No, it is at what? Hey, thanks, guys.
Appreciate it. No, thanks for coming on. Appreciate it.